Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode. I waited till Leslie was saying something. This is episode 487, and I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd of June, which seems unreal to me, but it is in fact the truth. 2020. Um, we're late again this week. It just seems to be our new normal. Late is the new normal. There's an episode title for us.
There you go.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of extra stuff with work because we still have a bunch of people furloughed, so it's been eating up my time and it's screwed up my hours. So Laura and I have sort of missed the time to record each other for almost 3 days in a row now. So
It happens.
yeah, it does. Anyway, what are you knitting on?
I started I'm knitting on a bunch of things because I had like a cast on week this week. So, and I finished a bunch of stuff. So I cast on a
Yeah,
new pair.
Laura's finished is like a paragraph. I'm looking at show notes on her
Oh.
computer. It's like a paragraph long. Go
I
ahead, sorry.
mean, a paragraph only has to be 3 sentences, so whatever. Actually, a paragraph could only be one single word if we wanted to make it play that game. But I am knitting on some sock tubes that I started working on during our Patreon events on, what was that, Sunday?
Sunday.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, so these were cranked a couple months ago when I was, I think at the beginning when I first did a demo on how the sock machine works on Instagram Live. And they are by Knit and Bro Yarns, which is hand dyed in Pennsylvania. And this is his Jawbreaker colorway. And then these Jawbreakers, you can get an additional skein, like a mini skein in a bunch of different colors, whether it's the pink that's in there, or the blue, or the yellow that's in the speckles. And I went with the blue, which is really, really nice. And so I'm just going to use that for the heels, I think. And right now I'm just knitting on the ribbing of the first one, and I'm doing that on size 0 needles. Maybe what's the red cord? Chagoose?
Yeah, Chow red
Chagoose.
lace.
Yeah, the sharp points. So that is the first thing that I am working on. And the second thing that I'm working on is right here. I cast on a flax light. So I have the wee little ribbing. Go wee.
No.
And this yarn is by Urban Girl Yarns. It's leftover from another project that I used it for. I love her skeins because they're nice large skeins. So this is 480 yards, and it is in the Sunday Love colorway, and I'm knitting that on size 2.5, which I think is 2.75 millimeters. So yeah. So I'm actually making this into a baby size gauge swatch because I have some of this yarn in Nether Gray. I think it's Steel Matters. She does grays really, really well. And that I picked up at SSK. So I'm doing this baby-sized gauge swatch, essentially.
So that you can knit what? A Laura size sweater?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of the other skeins that I have, I think I have 4 or 5 in Steel Matters, which is another gray. And then I also have, I think this is the last thing. Oh, no, I have 2 things. I cast on a Bounce baby blanket the other day. So there's the first little bounce. And this is a pattern by Tin Can Knits that I've knit before. The lace is an Everywhere lace, which is interesting, but the green in between is just garter stitch. And it's a
Now,
pattern by,
does the green stay constant throughout and
yeah,
then you change the lace? Okay.
yeah,
I
you
knew
can change the
one of them
colors.
changed, but I didn't remember which one.
Well, you can change whatever. In the samples, they change the lace colors. And that's what I'm doing as well. I'm also carrying the yarn up the side until it switches. Yeah, so you can see I just knit the first stitch with both
Yeah.
both skeins or both threads held together, and then just knit those two together. And this is a kit from Neighborhood Fiber Company, not for Bounce specifically, but they sell these gradient kits. So this is Shades of Turquoise, and I started with color E, and I'm working my way down. I probably won't get to all of these because I did cast on the smaller size of the blanket because I didn't have quite enough for the largest. I was short like 20 yards, but I figured I could always make a blanket longer. So
Yeah.
this might be like a longer, narrower blanket. Well, if I don't get all the way to the end, that'll be fine too. I can use leftovers for a sweater or whatever else. And then the green, and both of these are Studio DK. It's 100% superwash merino, and this is in the Belair colorway, which I love. I picked this up at Maryland a couple years ago. So it's super happy, and I think it makes the perfect. I'm apparently on a blue kick. It makes the most perfect baby blanket. And then the last thing is the Long Dog yarn socks on a plain socks. They really have not gotten much work. I think I knit like a row, but there's those wee little sock toes. So I need to start working on those, and those are using the same size 0 needles. So I need to go back to working on those to get those done for Stash Dash. I think all my bags today were Amy Beth. What I have in bags. Now that I'm just at my house, like very little gets put in bags.
Yeah, I'm that way too. Like it just lives on the sofa beside me. Because my dogs don't really care about yarn. If it's fiber and it's open, Buffy will pull it apart like tissue.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't eat it. She just pulls it apart. It's like a fun game for
She
her.
just slobbers on it and pulls
Yeah,
it. That's
but
super fun.
they don't care about yarn, thankfully.
Huh.
So,
Pearl leaves everything alone unless it's in her way, and then she's like a cat. She just knocks it to the ground. She
well,
just heard her
Humberto used to
name.
carry it around in his mouth, right?
Yeah. She just heard her
Selected
name, so
yarn
she came up.
babies.
Yep. Hey, Pearl. So, what are you knitting on, friend?
Well, I am like 20 stitches from the end of the row, so I'm going to
Oh, you're fine.
keep knitting until I get to the end of the row. Most of what I was actually able to get knit this week was during our VKN for Patreon, and that is always the last Sunday of the month. It's usually in the evening, but we do try to throw in an early afternoon one at least once a month or once, every few months just to give people the choice. Because
Especially if
different,
they're overseas, it allows them to
yeah,
participate.
no one time's going to work for everybody, but we try to switch it up.
That's true.
So the pattern that I'm working on now is like a broken rib, which is I think more annoying than a regular rib because it's constantly changing. And I always do it wrong for the first few stitches and have to pull it back. But that could
Did you
just
pull it
be
back or did you just fix it on the next row?
no, I pull it back. I mean, I usually notice relatively quickly when the stitches don't line up the way they should. Because I'm always looking at well, I say that, and then clearly I've messed something up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to have to fix that, but I can just slip these stitches over until then. All right. So this is Starboard Rock, which is a pullover, which it's sort of a combination or a mixture of Joji Locatelli's boxy sweater and Andrea Mowry's Weekender. It's sort of a cross between the two. It's fingering weight. I'm using Ice Skating Party
You've
by
gotten
String
far on that ribbing.
Dyeworks. Yeah, I only had maybe an inch and a half last time, and I'm up to maybe 4 inches
Are you
now.
going to like 5?
I have to go to 6.5.
Oh, I'm a liar.
And then there's a little bit of short row shaping
Gotcha.
because this is the back. So there's a little bit of short row shaping for the shoulders. And then I do the same thing on the front. So this is going to be like the 6-month sweater, I think. It's going to take a really long time.
But it's going to be gorgeous when it's done.
Well, I hope so. We'll see. As long as I don't screw it up, the color is great. So, but yeah, it's this broken rib. So on one side it's knit three, purl three. On the other side it's knit one, purl one. So it gives a nice texture. I really like the way it looks. I just don't particularly enjoy knitting it. So there's that.
Yeah, it's
And
really pretty.
then I pulled a couple of sock tubes for this coming week. I sort of have arbitrarily decided I'm going to try to do at least one sock tube a week during Stash, which means I need to crank some more because I've only got maybe 4 left.
Good for you. You have plenty of yarn at my house to
I
crank.
do, yeah. So I pulled this, which is Autumn Mint by
Ooh, I like that one.
Coloring Book Yarns.
That's really pretty.
And this, which is Peace Be Upon Ye by Query. And both of these Laura cranked for me, so the yardage won't count except heels and toes, so maybe 50 yards total, if I'm being very generous, for heels and toes.
And that's because you do a turned hem.
I do a turned hem, correct.
Which people have been asking you to do a video on how you do it.
It's, I mean, I don't even know if it's the accurate way to do it. It's just the way that I do it. Because I'm too lazy to do it while it's on the, well, that's not true. I'm not too lazy to do it while it's on the machine, but I'm not going to make Laura create a folded hem for me when she cranks socks.
No,
so
I don't.
Laura's like, good, because I wouldn't do it anyway.
Problem solved.
Yeah, so I don't know who these socks are going to be for yet. I haven't decided, so I'll have
They're
to do that
gorgeous.
before I put in heels.
I think the one would be perfect Christmas socks for Amy Florence, actually.
It's true. She does love her Christmas socks.
She does.
But that's it. That's all that I've been working on.
Do you want to talk about finished objects, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first? Because otherwise it'll be you talking for 30 minutes and I won't have anything to say because
I don't think I have that much to talk
no,
about.
just you have finished objects and you have spinning and
That's true. I have
you've worked
two
hard to
things.
get all this stuff. I'm not begrudging you.
All right. So earlier this week, I cast on and finished in one day, actually. This is the child size of the Scrappy Snarled Slouch Hat.
I really like
And
this hat.
I love it.
I'm gonna have to knit some of those. It looks like it would be great for scraps and leftovers.
Yeah. So what it is it's you hold 3 skeins of either 2 DK in one sock or 3 sock, depending on what numbers you want to use. I just used 3 sock, and I actually wound 3 new cakes of yarn for it because I have a lot of self-striping scraps, but I don't have a lot of non-self-striping scraps. And it for the child size, it requires around 100 yards of each. So I just pulled some ancient stash. Well, the Urban Girls is not ancient. So one of them is that gray Urban Girl that I showed earlier. One of them is, oh, I'm sorry, Pearl. This Fleece Artist C-Cell that I got, I think, in 2008 from the Loopy U. It doesn't have a colorway number. Like, they didn't name their colorways.
Is this from one of the spring flings?
Yeah. And it's got a nice, like, shine to it. I do like C-Cell. And then it's kind of like a silk. The other is a Dream in Color.
Mm.
They're old, also probably from 2008. So I'll use the leftovers for shorty socks for me because I still have around 300 yards on each. So those 2 blues will become shorty socks. But yeah, it's a great pattern. Highly recommend it. And because with Stash Dash, your yardage that you knit is what counts. So this is like 300 meters.
Even though you're holding it triple.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good point to make. Plus, it seems like if you are relatively thoughtful with your colors, you can really use scraps. Like you could use 10 yards and then sort of blend it into your next color.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a tin can knits pattern that does that I cannot remember the name of right now. That's a hat pattern that I've knit in the past.
Yeah, I remember.
But this one's got a little bit more texture and dimension to it. The other one is an inside out, like reverse stockinette.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Snap Hat's the tin can knits one. But yeah, I really, really like this. I purchased some more of her patterns because I think they are really well done. And I enjoyed knitting it. So that's the first, and this was knit on size 9s and 10s. And I actually pulled out the new Licka needles, which are bamboo, and used those in my short set to knit this.
So hold it back up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw this, I thought it was herringbone, which is kind of a pain in the butt to knit. And I'm not giving away the secret sauce of the pattern, but it's so much easier than that.
Yeah, it's super easy. I mean, I knit the whole thing in a day while I was playing bingo with some friends. So, and on a Instagram Live with Amy Florence. So maybe 4 hours worth of knitting
Yeah.
for a super cute hat, and it comes in a wide variety of sizes as well. I think there's 4 sizes or 5 sizes. So toddler, child small, child large, adult small, adult large. So 5, I believe. But yeah, I liked it a lot. And then I have 2 baby hats. Both
Oh.
are out of hand spun. Both have a 1x1 ribbing at the bottom. They're just cast on 56 stitches on a size 7 needle. Do around 1.5 to 2 inches of ribbing. Then go until your total piece measures around 5 inches. And then start the decreases over 8 stitches. So it would be like knit 6, knit 2 together.
Yeah.
All the way across, and then knit around, and then knit 5, knit 2 together. So yeah, those are both from a Hello Yarn patchwork kit. Very different. This was a silk blend, and this one was just a wool blend. But they are done, so those will go in my gift box. And then, socks. I finished the sock tube socks that I was working on the last couple weeks. These are Knitterly Things Vesper in the April Showers Bring May Flowers colorway. These are going to my mom, I believe. They were a 72 stitch tube that was cranked, and then I put in the heels, toes, and ribbing, and I cranked it myself. So yeah, one cranked pair done for me, and that has an afterthought heel in it. That's my preferred heel. So
Like
yeah,
overall, that's your preferred heel, or
um,
just for tubes?
just for tubes. I mean, I don't mind it for other things, and I've used it a lot for self-striping stuff in the past. And that is it. That's all I finished this week.
Hmm.
Do you
Okay.
have any
Well,
finished objects?
I've got a couple of finished things. Um, I've got 2 pairs of cranked tubes that I finished. Um, this one I actually cranked the socks myself, so I get to count
Oh,
the
pretty.
yardage for Stash Dash. This is Opal Rainforest collection number 15. The colors in the show notes. Show notes are always found on TheKnitGirlls with 3ls.com. I did my normal fold over cuff after the fact, afterthought heels and toes. Uh, these are for Kobe. Kobe is my son, who is 17 and has a size 13 men's foot.
Wow.
So these are his, almost all of the opal. There's a few grams left. And
Is
then
he
the other,
excited? Have you shown him yet?
yeah, I had him try them on. I don't know if excited is the right word.
Well, he keeps stealing your socks,
He
right?
does, yeah, which is not great because his feet are like 1.5 inches longer than mine, and that's not super great for the wear of the sock. But yeah, so the other one is from Query Fiber. It's in the I Do What I Want color,
That's perfect for Kobe.
and these are also for Kobe. You can tell these are short because you've got all this extra here. So this was like a 20 stripe color repeat,
Yeah.
and I actually really like the color, so I hadn't planned on giving them to him, but the tubes were plenty long enough and he liked it. So
We can
um,
always get more yarn.
yeah, and I have so much. So yeah, so these will get washed and then go in his room somewhere that I don't want to think about. And
Look at
yeah,
you using up all the sock yarn.
I'm trying to make some progress if possible and use as much of my stash as possible. So
That's a good thing to do.
I thought about spinning today
Did you?
because the work things that I've been doing basically involves me getting up at 5:30, doing a bunch of patching and rebooting of servers, and I have to do them early in the morning so that there's no impact to the customers because our businesses are 24 hours, and so it involves like removing things from load balancers and then patching and rebooting these three and then putting them back and then moving other ones off and then putting those in the patching, and it's just a lot
Yeah.
of back and forth and waiting.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, if I had my Hanson or my
Starling?
Starling over here, I could just spin while I wait. But um, I had somebody on the conference call helping, and I didn't want to have to um, tell them what the noise was if they could hear it. So I didn't. But I might
Gotcha.
spin some this week. I might spin some,
Well, you go back on call too,
thick
so.
yarn. I do. I go back on call on Thursday, but we've only got maybe 10 properties open, or we will by tomorrow. No, by Friday, because Las Vegas is opening 2 casinos tomorrow
Oh, wow.
of ours. There's probably
Yeah.
other people's as well, and then another one on Friday. So
Wow.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
It will be. I did find some time to spin, although I mainly plied this week. So the thing that I spun the singles, did I show this to you guys already? The tweet,
I don't
Romney?
know if I don't remember. I've seen it, but it may have been from a text, so I
Okay.
can't remember.
Um, well, I finished spinning 2 bats around 5 ounces of a Romney that I got from a local farm near that attended Fiber in the Borough this fall, and it's Romney and then this sari silk that's mixed in. So I have 2 bobbins of this to ply, and it was spun long draw because that's what I like to do with bats, and it was spun on my ladybug. So that is ready to go. I'm excited about that. I don't know what it's gonna grow up to be, but I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be super cool.
I'm
And
going to ask
then,
you a question. Um, just out of curiosity, because you give lectures on fiber choice and all that.
mm-hmm.
Why is sari silk called sari silk? Is it like the cast
It's
offs from
it's the
when they?
waste from the
Okay,
sari industry.
okay. I thought it might
That's
be,
what
but I
I
wasn't sure.
believe. I might be wrong. I'm often wrong, but I'm like 90% certain that's why it's called that. I don't know if that was like the origin story and it's morphed since then,
Yeah.
but
So maybe if somebody does know, that would be an
there you go.
interesting bit to share on the episode thread on Ravelry.
There you go. And then I also finished plying the Homestead Hobbyist, the Merman Christian colorway, which is inspired by his Chesapeake tail. And this was a silk merino Shetland sea cell and sparkle blend. And I really, really like how it came out. It's 314 yards of a 2-ply that was spun on my ladybug and then plied on the mini. It's nice and smooth. And when we talk about smooth, a lot of times fiber choice plays a big part in
Mm-hmm.
that. Because it does have such a high silk content. I think it was like 37.5% silk. It's definitely a smooth, shiny looking fiber. And there's a lot of sparkle that I don't know. I guess you guys can see it when
Yeah,
I
I can see
move
it.
it.
It's
It's a
pretty.
gold sparkle. I like it a lot. And then the other thing that I finished was spun on my Blackbird, which is a wheel by Daedalus. It is the Escape colorway. It was a specially prepared limited edition roving from Two Guys Yarn Company. It's 55% Romney wool, 10% nylon, 15% banana, and 20% satin wool. You guys have seen this fiber spun up by me before because I spun a bunch last year pre SSK. So this was spun kind of long draw. It's got a good bit of loft in it. The Blackbird is set up in Irish tension, which is a new experience for me. I don't have a ton of experience spinning in Irish, but I'm learning for sure. And this is 300 yards from around 6 ounces. So yeah.
Cool.
So those two are done. One, the Homestead Hobbyist was 861 meters for Stash Dash, and then the Romney was 820. I just noticed the word Romney was misspelled, so I'm fixing that. But yeah, a good bit of stuff done. Did you want to talk about what you're reading?
Sure. I have to move my show notes because of all of Laura's stuff.
I mean, it's actually 2 pages for once.
I know.
Our show notes are we use Google Docs, and it's usually like half a page.
Yeah. So this week I read the 5th book in the Demigods of San Francisco series, Sin and Lightning. I finished it. It was good. I look forward to the last in that series, which comes out next month, I think, or later this month, maybe. I read the 2nd in the series by Jeff Kennedy. The first is The Orchid Throne, and the 2nd is The Fiery Crown. So I finished that one. Both of those are male, female fantasy. Sin and Lightning is more paranormal. And the other one is more strictly fantasy, male, female fantasy. What else? Oh, I'm re-listening to the Starfig Investigation series.
Oh, a new one just came out, right?
Yeah, it's not on Audible yet, but it's usually pretty soon after. It'll pop up on there. And Starfig Investigations is a male-male romance that's kind of paranormal fantasy. It's got shifters and wizards and fairies and all that, and sort of set in the modern world. And so on the 2nd one, and I'm listening to it. The 3rd one is out, but it's not on Audible yet, so I'll get the book.
I actually switched from Audible this week.
Yeah, I saw you went to Libro or something.
Libro FM, and I did that because Audible is owned by Amazon. Mm-hmm. And Libro, first off, supports teachers. They give teachers what are called ALCs, which is advanced listening copies. Mm-hmm. So they give the option for a couple a month, 4 or 5 actually a month usually, for teachers to have access to. So if you are an educator, you can apply to be part of that program, and that's you can find all the information on their website. But also a portion of their sales go to independent bookstores. So if you have an independent bookstore that you want to support, whether they're in your local area or not, you can select them, and then that money will go towards whatever percent, I can't remember the percent off the top of my head, goes to those independent bookstores. My independent bookstore that's local to us, Novel, which is actually in Memphis, sent out an email about it a couple months ago. And I wanted to support them even though their physical store has been closed. They've offered curbside pickup. So I switched, and it's the same cost as Audible. It's a little like you don't get obviously like the Audible exclusives and stuff like that. But yeah.
But otherwise the catalog is the same.
Yeah. There's certain like audiobooks that publishers have deemed that you can't use their credits for, but the majority of them are the same. So
well, I'm listening to Everything's Trash, But It's Okay by Phoebe Robinson. This is her 2nd audio book, and I love her and the podcast she has with, I think it's Jennifer Williams, something Williams, Two Dope Queens. It's a great podcast.
Oh, she was just on
yes,
Drag Race Celebrity Edition, Secret Celebrity Edition, or whatever.
And that's the one who wrote the book that I'm listening to is Phoebe. So This is her second one. The first one is No, You Can't Touch My Hair, and other things I have to tell white people, or something like that. I can't remember the exact wording on it. But I really enjoy Phoebe's viewpoint, and she is able to discuss a lot of things around racism and sexism in a way that's easily digestible, and it gets the message across in a way. I don't know how to say this the right way. In a way that helps you remember it well, and allows you to make it into a story so that you can tell other people.
So it's easy to share, but easy to understand.
Yeah, really great stuff. I love her stuff, as well as Samantha Irby's audiobooks. Their audiobooks are increased tenfold by the fact that they read them. They're really great.
Yeah. I love it when an author reads the audiobooks if they're a good reader, for sure.
So that's what I've been reading and listening to.
Cool. With that Libro FM educator program, I was able to get Stamped. I actually have a physical copy too, but I'm listening to the audio because Jason Reynolds, the author, reads it. So this is Stamped. It is a remix of the National Book Award winning Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. And it's just really, really good. It's not a history book. It's about race and how systematic racism came to be in the United States and where we are now. I'm around 3 hours into it. It's a 4-hour audiobook, so I'm right at Ida B. Wells. And it's just really, really interesting. And I love the way that Jason Reynolds writes. He's always been one of my favorite authors, and to have him read his own work is amazing. He is the Young People's Ambassador of Literature this year. He's been working a lot with Library of Congress to do weekly writing exercises, and it's just really, really a powerful piece. So I highly recommend it. This is a young reader's edition, so it's meant for young adults. The adult version will be Stamped from the Beginning, that this is based off of. And someone asked me the other day what the difference is. I haven't read the adult version. I specifically wanted to book talk this to my students, so I'm reading this first. But this audiobook is 4 hours. The adult version is 18 hours. So I'm thinking there's some pretty substantial differences between the two.
But this is much more approachable for your kids.
Yeah. And it's very approachable for me.
Yeah.
Like, he does a lot of metaphors that I can relate with and that my students would also be able to relate with. And it's just a really, really well written book. So that is the first thing that I'm listening to. And then the second thing that I'm reading is Lifting as We Climb, Black Women's Battle for the Ballot Box. I've only read a smidge of this because it starts after where I was in Stamped, and I wanted to get to where they would be at the same point, which I'm right about right now.
Yeah.
So I read the intro in the first chapter, but it's really, really well written right now. Like at the point that I'm at, I'm really enjoying it. It's by Yvette Diani, who is a Black feminist writer, and she's written for like Teen Vogue, The Guardian, and stuff like that. So this was one that I picked up a couple weeks ago when it first came out. We're looking to incorporate more nonfiction text in our 6th grade curriculum, and so I brought home a bunch of nonfiction text to read through over the summer. So both of those are very good so far. I'm enjoying them. I'm almost done with Stamped. I think I have it like an hour left, maybe. It's one that I'm listening to, and then if I get any kind of interruption, I have to go back because I don't want to miss anything that's important. So I've been going back and re-listening to it quite a bit. And to be honest with you, I'll probably read the text as well before I do my book talk, just because sometimes there's elements of text, like text features that you see that don't translate into audiobooks as well. But Jason Reynolds is an awesome reader of that. He also wrote Long Way Down, which is fiction. It's poetry, and he reads that as well.
Mm.
He's written a bunch of books. But yeah, that's what I've been reading.
And on that topic, I know Laura and I both, neither of us are interested in being performative and taking up space that's better left to people with more experience and more firsthand knowledge. But Laura and I are both avid supporters of the Black Lives Matter movement. We both, through the Knit Girls and personally, support different artists on Patreon, creators on Patreon. Like Layla Saeed is one of the people that I support. Laura's got a different.
I support her, and I also support The Conscious Kid, which, if you are a parent, is a great Patreon account to support because they do a lot of education work
Yeah,
specifically. So I would highly recommend them, as well as Britt Hawthorne and some other educators that are you can support on Patreon that I personally support. But we did want to say that with everything that's going on right now, there is a lot of learning to be done by all of us.
absolutely.
And so definitely take the time, think about who you want to support when it comes to financial support, but also think about some resources that you want to read, like books or
Mm-hmm.
articles, or there's tons of information on Instagram right now and other social media to look through and analyze. So be a
Uh,
critical thinker.
I would just add on to that, do your own research first and don't ask
Yes.
your friends to educate you. Um,
Google and other search engines are happy to help you
yeah.
find articles and other information.
And also, Laura and I are always looking for more people to support, more creators to support. So if you have suggestions, please put them in the Revelry episode thread so we can check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
What else?
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, there's
The
sharks now.
There are sharks. I caught 3 different sharks today. I'm super excited.
Wow.
I caught a saw shark or something like that.
Oh, I
A
haven't gotten one
hammer,
of those yet.
a hammerhead, and a whale shark. I had rain on my island today, so I was
Oh,
catching all the fish.
I've
And it's
gotten the whale and the hammerhead and the sucker fish,
ooh, I haven't
which
gotten a sucker
which
fish.
has a whale fin, like a shark fin.
Ooh. Yeah, so
And
with a new month comes new things on Animal Crossing.
I've gotten fireflies and I've gotten bitten by a lot of mosquitoes, but not actually caught one.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and have you been going to Harv's Island and taking wedding
I
photos?
did yesterday for the first time, so I guess you have to do it a minimum of 7 times from what I'm
Yeah,
reading.
it's
So,
every day this month, and you get like crystals that you can exchange for furniture or something. I don't know.
but it's like wedding furniture, so I'm
Yeah.
vaguely interested, but not. It's just like rearranging the decor on your house, which is
Hmm.
actually one of my least favorite things to do in Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Um, that's one of those, if I have time and I've already, you know, done all the other stuff I plan to do for that day, then I'll do it.
Yep.
What
Um,
else?
I put my daily Instagram lives on hold until at least Monday. I think now is a good time to use that time to learn from other people
Hmm.
and for me to take up less space on Instagram, which does not mean that I'm not posting things that I find educational to my stories. It just means that I don't want to take up space from other people who are doing important work.
Hmm.
So I've canceled those, but it should be back at maybe Monday. We're gonna see. I have to talk to some people. Um, like everything else, situations right now are extremely fluid. So I appreciate everyone who's being super flexible, including the people, especially the people that I had scheduled to come on and speak with me.
Yeah, it's important to know when to yield to things that are more important than well, we've got going on necessarily. So
Absolutely. This is a knitting podcast at the end
yeah.
of the day. It is not extremely important. I think that's about it. What else do we have to talk? You have stash dash yardage.
Yeah, I'm
So
just going to try to keep track of it here because, like on the show notes, because otherwise I don't know that I will.
yeah.
So I'm just going to update it every week at the bottom of the show notes. So this is week 2 of Stash Dash, and I'm at
Yep.
a whopping 700 meters. I am just knocking it out of the park.
I think I'm around 2000
Yeah,
right now, but that's because of spinning.
this
That's
is
the
the
only
story of my
reason.
life.
Because these little baby hats are not adding up very
Yeah.
quickly.
If I finish the sweater, that'll be a lot, but
It will be.
I don't know that that's going to happen this summer. We shall see. We
It
shall see.
will. It totally will.
Um,
All
but
right, I
yeah,
think that's about it.
yeah, we want to say a sincere thank you to our Patreon supporters. Now more than ever, there's so many great options out there, and we genuinely thank the people who choose to support us.
Yes.
Our fail along, we're still waiting for supplies to come in for that. Um, the upside of that is we will already have our June supplies well in hand.
Yeah, we'll be doing 2 this month.
Yeah.
So it all
So,
works out.
but aside from that, I don't think I have anything else. Do you?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. Well, we hope that you guys have a nice week. Get out there and educate yourself.
Yep.
And
Vote if you're in a state that has having primaries.
yes, local elections, especially local elections, because that's where the laws that affect you are going to be made. Like,
Yep.
anyhow, this is not a political podcast. So, you guys have a lovely week, and we will talk to you again next week. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.